Alright, starting off this video, I'm going to be doing this for my car because it's currently drizzling out there and I don't want to take the camera out there. This area here is right past the lower meadow. You can see that the water is pooled there on the left hand side. There's no place for it to go. Created a lot of pothole. When Rich graded it, it filled a lot of those in, but now we have mud. So the goal would be to pull more off the side, get the road angled a little better so that it drains properly, and then top it with some road base. So we've always had these potholes here. This is because water stands here and can't leave the road. People drive through it, of course it gets soft, splashes out and becomes worse. So do something a little more like this area in here where it can drain. Obviously we can't drain it down, so we've got to drain it to the side. Can't put too steep a slope on it because then we'd send all the cars off during the winter. So this last rain we got over 1.5 inches. It's probably up to 1.75 inches right now. This water bar needs some help. The buildup needs to be built up on the back side there so it's not as sharp, and fill it in some. Then we have a pretty big problem still in here. If you recall from the flood, where you see this this drainage going down the road right here is where we had a huge hole, and it was all from the water coming off the driveway here. This needs to be reshaped back in here to get that water to go over there and across the road over there and then down into the North St. Vrain. There is a small culvert going across here that was put in. It plugged up during the flood because it's too small and should probably be removed, and that dip, because this area in here used to have that large dip in it that would have taken all that water down there. Of course it all starts right back here, so if we don't get the water off here and then down the road, we're not going to be able to save this area. Already this summer I've had to fill in. There's an area over the culvert there that had to be filled in, and it's already eroding away again. So the Road Association will be replacing this 18-inch culvert here with a bigger 24-inch one that is longer. You can see we've got all this material here that'll be spread out on our fresh work after we get it done. So you can see the erosion taking place there. That culvert will be made bigger. We need to crown this up a little bit more, get the water off the road and get it over onto that edge over there. The stuff that's already on this side, and of course the stuff that is on this side of the road would stay in that ditch. So some more crowning in here. Clean up this water bar. Clean up this next water bar, which is really bad. Cover all this bare rock and then top it with our asphalt. So you can see here in this last storm especially, we have a lot of water that is come into the road and can't get out of the road. It has to you know, it kept on coming from down over there. It came over this not so much of a water bar. Did not exit, which is the goal. The stuff that we did last fall was to try to get the water to leave there. And I think what happened is this water bar, being all that fresh dirt, settled down and compacted, and it's not as high as when it was created. So all that water right there, we need to be able to control it. One of the goals would be to cut down this bank here, build up the road, remove the impediment to be able to get water off the road and into the stream. So that would create both crowning and a way to drain it. We're going to replace this single 24-inch culvert with another we're going to put an additional 24-inch culvert in here that will be in front of the other one, and it will actually have be at a higher elevation, so it won't take any water unless the water is getting so that it's overwhelming this culvert that's already there, and it'll be right in there. Then to tie those two culverts in together will be concrete basin that will be poured around and across to here to catch that water and make it go into the culvert, and not, as it did before, come out into this area and down the road. And this is of course the road burrito. This just needs to be recrowned, covered up, topped with road base. This area here, we talked to the Forest Service about using all of this material that's in here. You can see that there's a small valley back in there, and so there's actually a hump of material here. We want to take that material out and use it on the road in these different areas, and then make it all pretty, flatten this whole area out, make a better turnaround for fire trucks, and of course then the grass can grow back in this area here. All right. So, more smoothing. This area here, we have a lot of ditching that I did last fall. Just take this material, crown the road, make it so that it'll come over here. We've talked about putting a culvert where this water bar is. That is may or may not happen. And we've got rock here, of course that'll be covered up. Took out a lot of trees last fall, widened this section out. This is the Grand Canyon area, because there's a drive that's up there that goes across that stream that's down here, and it plugged up in years past, and all the water from the stream during the runoff came down and completely destroyed our road at that point. That was the biggest damage we'd ever had up to that point. So took out a bunch of trees in here, re-ditched it, and pulled that material up. I didn't want to spread it last fall because it was so late. I was worried about it just turning into mud in the spring. So that'll be being fixed. This is, you can see that the culvert is still there. I actually don't know if it's still plugged up or not, but we're going to make sure through putting a dip in through here that that water from that stream never has a chance to come on the road again. We'll be putting a culvert in here. You can see that we're we've got a lot of just bedrock here, so the culvert's going to be pretty much on the bedrock, and this hill that we've got to the side here will be pulled out onto the culvert and cover the culvert. And the culvert will start over here and go down into that little cut right there. This section held up really well, but we still have a lot of surface rock that needs to be covered. So in here you can see the water is not getting over here where it should be off the side of the road. It comes right down the side. And what's happening is water is coming off of this hill up over here and off of the driveway here, and it comes out into the road, and of course it gets in the middle. So that's a big problem. We want to take the dirt that we have up here, I'll show you where we're going to get it from, and crown this. I mean, so we're talking about filling this area probably with about 2 feet of dirt. Crown it through here, so any water coming down, we redirect into the side immediately instead of having it coming out onto the road. We want to extend this culvert out further down into the valley there, so that there's just a little bit more room. So here again we have water coming off of that Keller's Drive right there, and it's coming out into the road and it's being a real problem. So you can see there's an embankment here along the side of the road that's keeping all that water in the road. This needs to be reshaped so that any water entering the road can leave the road. You know, we crown this up a little bit more, mostly getting rid of this embankment off to the side. So water enters, water leaves. You can, so any water coming down Keller's, down the side here, will be shoved off right in there. Alright, this section has always been an issue with stuff coming down the middle. So the plan here is to leave the water draining on this side. Cut this down a little bit more, clean it up, and make it come down across Keller's Drive and off into the stream. The left side, to be able to do that, we need to make the road wider. So we've got the cut here, and we just continue this cut up to those trees back up in there. You can see the hill starting to peter out, and so we taper this thing out, put that on here, reshape the road so you've got more crown, put our drainage on here that comes down and into the culvert, back over in there. This is all that water that comes off of, I mean, we've got a water bar up here, we've got another culvert way back up in there. All that water comes down into this ditch here and comes down and goes down through the culvert. Now that culvert actually survived during the flood, that one that's behind me right now, and I'm pleased with what it did. Now I have most of the water that coming from here overflowed that water bar up there and just kept on coming down the middle and then off the road near where the culvert was, because it ate away the fresh dirt of us just installing that new culvert. Alright, so make the road a little bit to the left, about 2-3 feet in here. So we did this beautiful ditch last summer and it worked great. A lot of the water pouring off of this entire hill, you came down and it was just sheeting right off of that edge, hit the ditch, and then came down and breached the water bar and came right through the water bar right there. The thought is to go ahead and put a catch basin here and put a culvert across here. If we can get it in there, if we can get deep enough, we can put the culvert in there, and as long as we can have a nice catch basin in here, we can grab all that water and keep it from coming down into the road. Get rid of a water bar that everybody loves. This area in here needs some fill, a little road base to stabilize it. We have a lot of rocks showing in through here. The road's fairly well crowned. It just needs the road base to smooth it out. This area here, there was a large ravine that came down here after the flood. This is all really soft dirt, and we want to stabilize this area with the road base to improve the quality of the soil, get a little bit more crown to get into that ditch on the left there. So this water bar is doing its job pretty well. We need to put some dirt in this area. There is a ditch over here, but the water's not making it because of the cut that's here. So this needs to be crowned more. The water needs to be redirected into that ditch. Now this water bar up here was disabled at one point, and the problem is that all of the combined water from this entire area concentrates in the water bar that's behind me and cuts that water bar out much deeper. This needs to be rebuilt. This needs to be filled in here, the water bar recreated. We want to take dirt from the sides to do that, to recrown this road and put the road base on top. Same in here, recrown, get that water off the road, cover these big stones. We'll be taking dirt from back in there. You can see that there's quite a bit of dirt that's above the height of the road. This in here, so I did a little bit of work on this last weekend to try to cut into there to get the water a place to be on the side. These are really solid rocks in here. There's 1, 2, 3, and then another one up there. Those were not going to move for me, so I started filling it in, and this still needs another foot, at least 1.5 feet of dirt that will shape the road right there, so that any of this water that comes off of this center hill goes into the ditch or comes off over into this other ditch. So this area, just from the top of the hill down to pretty close to where I'm parked, needs to be filled in. Once that's done, it should get that water off the road. Our main objective for everything, get the water off the road. Need to fill this, cover these bedrock that has popped up through here. More of that here. And in here we have quite a bit more material, either also here and then also back in there. you can see we can take some of this material and bring it back down to the those rocks. And this beautiful thing. So take the asphalt, cover the rock, smooth out, make that water bar nicer beast to go over. Cover these rock in here. There's pretty good slope to the road already. The biggest problem is we've got all that exposed bedrock. Want to open this area up a little bit more. It's a small turnaround as it is, but we can make it better. Something I forgot to mention in the beginning is that if we can open up a pull-off in an area that doesn't have one, we need to look at that. So we debated putting another culvert in here for going across this water bar right here. We've got a lot of water that concentrates coming off of this hill here and comes down right in here and then comes across the road. And this water bar will dig itself deeper as time goes by. Is an indication it's got too much water going through it. So we've got this major rock here that is the biggest problem. And in the past, we've taken the jackhammer to it and cut a channel. Actually, my son did. Cut a channel in there to try to get the water across. This would be the water bar called Pepe Killer because it took the frame off my truck when I was hauling a trailer. And for the most part, I filled it in, but you can see how we've still got a lot of water that comes out of this ditch here and comes across the road. This needs to be crowned to get the water back into the ditch. If we can get all the water up here into this ditch, then we can send it through the culvert, and the culvert would be effective. Not a lot to say about this area. It needs to be filled in some more. Whenever you see a rivulet like that, it indicates that we're getting water in the road that's running down the middle of the road. Trying to get that off as quick as we can. This water bar here was created by the flood. This didn't. This was not a water bar in here originally. And the flood did that for us. So we want to try to clean this up a little more. Of course, what happens if we bring all of this water down this entire hill, if we improve this ditch to the point where it'll take all the water off of this hill, it could get so much at the end that it'll just overwhelm the road and be a problem. So if we can create an area in here where the water wants to come across in more of a sheet fashion and collect the runoff into cutouts like this. We'll have hay bales on the backside. Then we catch all the dirt that comes off and we can put it back on the road. So smooth this out, but keep the slope. Make it so that the water comes out of this ditch more evenly and not as concentrated, so that it can just sheet across the road and collect into a basin. Clean up the sidelines so that they're flowing better. Get a little more fill in the middle so that it's crowned a little bit better. Get this little rivulets that are coming down the road to go off the road. We've got a catch basin here. Something that needs to be done throughout the entire road is put straw bales. We'll put straw bales on the backside of these catch basins. They've worked well in the past, and they need to be refurbed in many places. So I'll cover the bedrock that you see right here. And we get up to the top, as it were. There's a few places we've got bedrock that are really exposed. Cover that up. We're getting up into the area of the road that's always been better. Of course, clean this ditch, get the ditch so that it's, you know, the road's crowned into the ditch instead of into the middle there. Squiggle, hummingbird here is a bit of an issue. The water comes off of there. Is that they have a ditch on that side of the road up there, and then of course it really doesn't have any place to go, so it spreads out, creates these multiple cuts, and then goes down through that water bar. So from our point of view, it's fairly contained. Kind of one of those perennial things we just have to keep on filling every year. So the flood did this damage on the right hand side and nobody wants to drive on it, so the road is actually moving to the left a little. The ditch needs to be cleaned out and then brought out into the road. We got bedrock here. It's exposed. That all gets covered. Kind of as a piecemeal type of deal. Try not to do the entire section, just cover where the rocks are themselves. That's something that if we can make it a little bit more comfortable, we can work on shaping the road a little better later. This has always been an area of the road that holds up for a really long time, even if it's you know, it's fairly flat, but it works well. This area needs to be sloped a little better so that it'll drain. And we didn't ever talk about, that's terrible phraseology. We never talked about what to do in that area there, whether to put another culvert in or not. I believe that'll be a future year project. Fill the potholes in here. They're just little ones that are forming. If we get them now, it would be better. We'd put a lot of, we put, I don't know, like 4 loads of road base down last summer in this this stretch from here up to the helipad. It's about the first time we've actually done much work in this section in a long time. So there used to be better drainage through here that needs to be recreated to cut this bank off a little bit so it'll leave the road. Overall, not too bad. I'm really keeping this on so that we get up to Squiggle Woggle. Alright, so we're going to put a culvert in the stream bank here, where the deepest pit here. We'll put a culvert starting roughly probably right there and then going across to over there. A lot of this area right in there will be shaped into more of a basin. It's a little bit well, it's not very well defined right now, but you can definitely see the stream going up in there. So back over in there. So that just needs to be defined until it hits the culvert, goes across, and fills in this area so that this terrible dip is gone. I've asked Jim if when he rebuilds this section, if they could try to get the slope either one side or the other side, because in the past we had water running down kind of two areas, and those two areas would come out into the main road, and it was just, we had 3 water crossings along this area of the main road, and it was a real problem. If Squiggle Woggle can be shaped a little better so that the runoff can be controlled onto one side over here, then we can deal with it as it comes across the road. There's a water bar down there, which is so-so. There was at one point kind of a rivulet through here that got smoothed out. Well, I mean, this entire area was solid rock after the flood, and when we filled it back in to try to make it more drivable, some of that shape got lost. So I think that's pretty much it for flood damage. There is bedrock and such exposed that we'll be covering to a certain extent as we go up to the helipad. I have a map that Mike Sloan did for us when we walked the road, and so I'll be including that with an email with this video, and that's all I can think about at the moment. If I have any more, I guess I'll tack it on at the end. Thank you for watching.